I'm thinking about buying something. This Microsoft sells an app. You can Windows treats two monitors as one.
Oh, there you go.
Anyway, so that's why I asked the resolution thing. Yes, I actually figured this out when I was playing. But this next question, I saw that there's presets, attack, defense. Will there be customization of that kind of
fully
aspect?
programmable? If you go back to the booth and blow it out all the way, you end up setting it and you save it off as your own presets and name them. Those are just kind of quick ones, default ones that we put in.
Can you do that for shield facings too? Like if you are
shield facing, we want you to actually care about that and actually manage that as kind of a moment-to-moment thing in combat. Yeah. So in terms of putting on AI and just saying, make sure my shields never go down, we want that to be part of it.
What about other macros with, anything? Any macros in general?
The system does have macros in where you can end up macroing powers together, but we haven't figured out to what extent we're going to expose that to the players yet.
Okay.
At some point in time, you can expose macros to the sense where the hardcore guy is going to end up macroing everything down to a push button, and when it comes down to it, it's like that's a great amount of freedom, but then it's not fun anymore. Yeah. And we do want to make a game that's fun. So.
I know people who have macroed hours of their EVE play.
Yes.
Okay. I saw the last PC Gamer article, and they had some great concept art. Looked to me to be concept art of three, like the tactical, science, and engineering options.
Sure.
And they were kind of decked out in kind of like very Trekky tricorders and different hypo sprays and different things like that. Are those purely concept art, or are we going to be getting those on our characters?
Those are all based on the kit that you have. And so based on the kit, the career restricted item that kind of gives you those powers on the ground that are really cool things, those are going to end up displaying different things on your kit. So you get kind of that tactical kit that's really has all those stealth powers, and you get like real cool stealth armor on top.
Oh, nice. So,
really awesome stuff.
So that's part of the progression aspect.
Yes, definitely.
Oh, that's great. Okay. Klingons.
Yes.
Okay, so you've mentioned, to my knowledge, three things. You've mentioned Battlegrounds, you've mentioned Battleground with the Romulans, you've mentioned House vs. House, PvP, and you've mentioned something else, I forget. But anyway, so I was just wondering, because we see a lot more episodic missions with Star Trek, with the Federation part side. I was wondering if there would be anything like where like the Klingon side was a lot more of the Battleground type aspect, a lot more of the PvP, a lot more of the combat type stuff, and the Federation was more about the missions.
The Klingon gameplay is definitely different than Starfleet. The advancement's going to be different, and the content that you do. There is a lot more PvP to the Klingon side. Again, that is something that in a couple of months we're really going to be focusing on that. But you're heading in the right direction.
Okay, what is the difference between creating your own custom race for either side and creating one of the iconic races? So if I wanted to create a Vulcan, what would that give me as opposed to creating something that wasn't a Vulcan, or just with some random thing? Like how would those differ?
It differs almost. I mean, it differs almost only in name when it comes right down to it. We want to make sure that players, we customize an alien species, can really kind of make whatever they want, can make a Klingon who has attributes who maybe aren't Klingon-like. And because we found that when we give players those freedom, they really come up with ideas and stories and backplots and be able to role play things that we could never think of. So when you create a Vulcan, you just like, look, I'm Vulcan. I'm a Vulcan species. I'm going to have one of these abilities. When you create your own species, though, you can pretty much pick from any of the attributes that exist and make your character look whatever you want it to be. But you won't be able to actually say, okay, this blue guy who knows martial arts really, really well, I'm going to name him Vulcan. Yeah, that's really the thing that you can't control.
Oh, so it's more of a protection of the race of this thing. Okay, protecting the idea. I like that. Okay, so the new movie's out. It's gotten really great reviews around the world, and it's really had, I think, the widespread appeal is something that is something that you guys must be thrilled about.
Oh yeah,
as gaming. And is there anything that you put into game to try to get more widespread appeal, to get maybe not so typical gamers or not so typical Trek fans also?
I mean, at its core, our game is a Star Trek MMO, and there's our market right there. It's like we want to make a really, really exciting MMO that people can play and really, really enjoy and be there for a very long time. And it's got to be in the Star Trek universe. I don't think there's anything we're dumbing down or changing up to really go after people outside of that market. I mean, hopefully gamers will give it a try because of how popular Star Trek is, but really we're kind of focusing on those two markets.
Oh, awesome. Okay, player-made content. So City of Heroes, which you guys used to own, has a mission architect system now. It's getting a lot of publicity for various reasons. And then Champions Online has the Nemesis program where you get to actually create the look, the feel of your Nemesis. Is STO going to take any of that?
There may be user-generated content in STO's future. We don't expect to have anything at launch, but I mean the amount of fiction that how hardcore the fans are, I mean, it's definitely ripe for that.
Yeah, and it's in the engine, obviously. Okay, Champions Online has been promoting the special event coming up pretty soon about zombies.
Yeah, sure.
Coming in, and if you fall into a pit, you turn into a zombie. Which a lot of us Star Trek fans think, that sounds a lot like Borg being assimilated. Is there anything going to be, like where you have a special event with a Borg, and if you get killed by Borg, maybe you're assimilated?
There's nothing technically keeping us from doing that. That sounds like.
Well, you haven't planned 7 months out yet, or 8 months out.
I can't reveal all of the events that we have planned. Right
you have some events.
Oh yeah, there's definitely some stuff planned. You got to start well before launch. You kind of have to figure out what the arc is, what you're going to end up doing.
Nice.
Give yourself a lot of time to react to what the players want and what they really see within the game. But also, you kind of have to have a plan, if only to break it based on how the game does at launch.
Are you going to have some that are kind of annual events, or just kind of one-time things, or what's the frequency that we see in events?
I mean, you want to have events that happen during the game occasionally. I mean, Borg invading, like
totally randomly?
Those sort of things, totally randomly, or reoccurring events, or even, I mean, you got to have, it's a community, right? It's an MMO, it's a community. You got to do things around certain times a year. You got to do events around holidays and stuff like that. So all that stuff will end up happening too.
Okay, so awesome. Okay, I've been envisioning, because I think there's a race that happens in Millennium City every once in a while where you actually just fly around the city and you're timed. Is there anything going to be like that in STO where it's like full power to impulse engines race around this nebula?
We don't have any races in the game right now, but there's nothing keeping us from adding that sort of concept.
Just an idea.
Let me write that one down.
I'll text it to you.
Thank you.
If I had your number.
I don't know if you're going to get my number.
Okay. That was not me asking. I want to be that weird dude. Okay. Okay. So I've been having this scenario in my mind about Star Trek Online, and I'm sure everybody does. But I was thinking, eventually, maybe if you had a few new factions, I would be, maybe a Romulan, you would be a Fed. D-Man he's so kindly holding the camera would be a Klingon purely. And then maybe somebody over there eating dinner is a Cardassian, somebody else is a Dominion. Are you ever thinking about a scenario where, like, maybe I get a certain mission, you get a certain one, and we all converge, and we all have different missions. Some of them kind of help each other at certain points. Some would be against each other, and then you come in and you have to, like, figure it out on the fly. You'll be hailing them. You'll be trying to figure out what they're doing. Anything like that in the future?
There's nothing keeping us from doing that sort of content. I think once we get, let's get 2 factions in, see how that works, then throw the other ones in. I think that's me. Thank you very much.
Zink likes grilled cheese.
Food is here.
And French fries.
Not the can.